I'm Arba Kumsin. Thanks for staying with us. Now, President Akufo-Addo says his administration will in the coming days roll out a 5-point national action plan to deal with the menace of illegal mining across the country. Some 1,400 small-scale miners in all mining districts will also be vetted as part of moves to streamline the mining sector. Speaking at the official opening of the Secretariat of the Interministerial Task Force, President Akufo-Addo charged the participating ministries to coordinate and work closely with Operation Vanguard to ensure sustainability of mining.
The anti-Galamsey fight by the Akufo-Addo-led government has been one of the highlights of 2017. The launch and subsequent deployment of the Joint Task Force, made up of 400 officers and men drawn from the Ghana Army, Navy, Air Force and the Ghana Police Service, was to root out the illegal miners whose activities have largely polluted water bodies and depleted forests. Members of the public expected a lot from the Operation Vanguard team and so were somewhat disappointed when 3 months into the operations, allegations of corruption were leveled against members of the team by some small-scale miners and even the Eastern Regional Minister. Despite these, the President, in his remarks at the official opening of the Secretariat of the Interministerial Task Force on Thursday, described as successful the work of the Operation Vanguard.
During the period of the ban, government gave directives to the committee to carry out certain activities to bring sanity into the artisanal gold mining sector. These included 1. Launching of Operation Vanguard on 31st July 2017, a force comprising officers and men from the military and police service, tasked to prevent further pollution of water bodies and land degradation. Operation Vanguard thus far has been a huge success.
The President announced a major intervention in the Galamsey fight in the coming months.
We're entering a new era in our efforts to formalize the small-scale mining industry so as to achieve sustainable mining with sound environmental practices. In the weeks and months ahead, I expect to see optimal coordination amongst participating ministries and the district mining committees, as well as close interaction with Operation Vanguard, small-scale miners, and the general public. I expect the committee to receive regular reports from mining centers so that illegal activities can be dealt with immediately. With the inauguration of the district committees in some 10 days, an important exercise will be carried out, and that is vetting of about 1,400 small-scale miners in all the mining districts of Ghana, allegedly the total population of all small-scale miners in the country.
Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, whose ministry is spearheading the fight, commended and called on the Association of Small-Scale Miners to work closely with the Interministerial Committee to achieve the set targets.
The media, the Small-Scale Association, we are doing this for your benefit. Ghanaians are watching you. Ghanaians know very well that with your involvement, together with the committee, we will be able to achieve our aims and objectives. We are not letting you go. We have to involve you day in, day out. Just about a week ago, the Small Scale Association, the task force, managed to do a marvelous job. And we want to say, Ayiko, we are going to enter a new year. And in entering this new year, we expect your collaboration further. The President is determined that as long as we are able to clear the environment and make sure that we move in a way that conforms to international practices, the benefits will come to everybody.
The minister also commended journalists who have been at the forefront of the Galamsey fight, as well as the media coalition against Galamsey, for the role they have played in the campaign.
Now, a group of small-scale miners who have come together to form what they call Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force have vowed not to relent until the last illegal miner lays down his tools. Numbering 40, the voluntary task force is made up of illegal and legitimate small-scale miners who say they intend to protect the country's water bodies and save the environment. Commander of the task force, Brasier Andor, told Joy News, even though they are committed to ending illegal mining, logistical constraints retard the operations and put the defiant miners always a step ahead of them.
The group therefore has a straightforward request to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, as explained by Commander of the task force.
We are demonstrating to Ghanaians to know that we small-scale miners, we are not part of those who are destroying our water bodies, but we are rather going to help the government and the people of Ghana so that everybody will see how we work. Because since the ban started, we all know Ghanaians were saying that we, the miners, are destroying water, this and this and this and this. But we demonstrated a lot.
Who gave you the authority to do this?
We started this, you see, that is what I was saying, that we can't take the power, or we can't take the law.
Now you've taken the work of the police.
Yeah,
is that what you're doing?
No, yeah, we've taken the work of the police, but we are not policemen, we are task force. And we are miners, you understand? We are miners, and we want everybody to know that we are not against what the government is doing, but we are against illegal mining. So as we can see, we are miners and we are against illegal mining. We have to also help. So we sit down with the authorities and they spoke to us and we also accept.
Okay, we know these illegal miners, some of them have weapons, I mean sophisticated weapons as such. Are you armed yourselves?
Yeah, we are not armed ourselves, but we are miners and we know them. We know where they are.
So what do you do when you get these illegal miners? What do you do to them?
Yeah, we arrest them, we send them to the police.
Do they go down easily with you when you get there?
Because we are many. In fact, it's very hard to arrest them.
The group also has plans to put more boots on the ground to drive out their former colleagues from the mine sites that are now in the hinterland.
Now let's turn our attention to the water sector, because Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Joseph Kofi Adda has revealed government will from next year implement the prepaid water system. This was greeted with controversy and rejection and forced to be suspended anytime it was introduced. Mr. Adda, however, says it's time to implement the system to rake in the needed revenue for the Ghana Water Company Limited. He's certain this will cover the operational cost of the water company and seal off loopholes. The Sanitation and Water Resources Minister was speaking with Joy News' Raymond Aqua on Upfront.
80,000 meters have been acquired. We're looking to acquire a lot more. The funding has been the problem that we're negotiating.
Has the 80,000 meters been deployed to homes
already?
No,
it's not been deployed yet. It's not been deployed.
So when will the deployments done?
I have not this week checked with the Minister of, with the Ghana Water Company to know how far they've gotten with that. But the 40,000 that first came did not come with the valves. So they were going back to get the valves. I think the first 40,000 valves have come along with that. The second 40,000 either have been delivered or they're being delivered.
Should we expect this to happen in the new year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That should
January?
happen. Yes. January, I can't say January. It will depend on the engineers. They have the implementation plans and all the mobilization things have to go through.
How many regions will have the first implementation plan and commencement?
I think it'd be wise for us to look at the areas of high concentration.
Like?
The urban areas.
So
like
it will not be...
Kumasi, that's where we can get high volumes of income.
Oh, okay. So that's where you're starting from?
Yes. Yes. We're not just starting from that alone. Where we're also implementing new water treatment plants, such as WA, for instance. We can deploy those there to make sure that there's a new culture, a new way of doing things with this new water treatment plant that was commissioned by the president not too long ago. So if we can get those, we're about, I think about 20,000 customer base in WA I think 3,000 is what we've just commissioned is addressing. So there's room there for about 17,000 if my memory serves me right. So if we can get these smart meters in all those places, it means that we can be sure that we're collecting the revenue from all these.
How much money is that supposed to save us?
Oh, we're saving us upwards of $100 and something million.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we're talking about between 52 to 55% of non-revenue water, meaning that all the income that Ghana Water is making, more than half of that's usually not being accounted for because of water leakage, because of poor billing, and not being able to bill, and so on and so forth. So if we can get this across the country, let's say we get upwards of 200, 300, 400, 500,000 meters, all of us being metered and paying for that. And we have meters that we cannot tamper with. I'm sure Ghana Water would not have less than $150 million.
Also, it's a matter of days, perhaps weeks, for the prepaid metering system to come into force. So what exactly is it and who will be affected? Here are some details. 18,000 residential facilities will be fitted with the new prepaid meters. Communities in Accra, Kumasi and Takoradi will be fitted with the meters in January. Heavily populated areas to be affected include Nima, Mamobi, Newtown, Ashaiman, Kumasi, Ababu, Ebuakwa, Takoradi, that is Kwesi Mintim. And there are plans to cut transmission losses by up to 50% to save money. But National Coordinator for the Integrated Social Development Center, ISODEC, Dr. Steve Mantiel, says the proposal is not only worrying, but an attempt to trade what is undoubtedly fundamental to human life. Dr. Mantiel asks why the Ghana Water Company Limited would go ahead with the implementation, although the pilot project faced so many challenges.
The commodity at stake here is one that has serious public health implications. You can do without electricity for some days, but you cannot do without water for days. It has implications for personal hygiene. And given that most Ghanaians even buy vended food, just imagine the kinky seller running out of water. He may resort, or he or she may resort to unwholesome sources of water to prepare food for vendors. And so because of the public health concerns, I do not think that prepaid metering is a way to go.
But should they be able to address all these concerns? You rightly pointed that they are looking at addressing the inefficiencies in the system. There's proper wastage also in the system. If Ghana Water, for instance, is able to address these concerns, are we then not ready to prepay for water?
No, I do not think we are ready. You see, it's all about technology. And you see, technology is not foolproof. When it comes to water, I think we need to understand that it's a public good and it should be provided with public resources and should not have any profit motive. And so when we pay our taxes, we expect that part of our taxes to go to support the provisioning of universal access to water, whether you can afford or not. What is more important than water if you cannot credit water? And so for me, the thinking is that when people cannot afford to buy water now, that fact should not deprive them from accessing water because it has implications for their health and life. And so the public has a responsibility to find a way of making water universally accessible, and cost should not be a barrier.
Meanwhile, the communications manager at the Ghana Water Company Limited says although the pilot project, which was carried out in 2015, faced some challenges, it is time to roll out the full implementation to cut out wastage in the system and enhance production and supply of quality water.
but it's capital intensive. Okay, now consumers are not paying regularly, so how would we be able to make enough money to be able to change them the way you say it? Okay, so it's very easy for you to say change them, but where is the capital coming from?
We're paying for water bills, aren't we?
We are not. Okay, now if I have to tell you the amount to which even domestic consumers are owing us, okay, you can't say we are doing well. The consumers are not doing good at all. You understand? But the situation is such that we all need to work hard. So the consumers need to work hard at paying their bills regularly and promptly, and we should also be doing better than we are doing now. But sometimes we are unable to meet your expectations because the debt is not there, like they say. You understand? So if we don't get, let's say, government to be supporting us, if we don't do some magic to enable
so devise
get the
other
water, means
for the there to be there, other than just
that is why we've talked about prepaid metering. So it's not like we're just going to roll it out into the system without any strategy, without any.
So what's the strategy? What's the strategy in rolling it out?
The strategy is to get the institutions that can pay but are refusing to pay. Okay, now when we get them, it will improve on our revenue, then we can invest into the system, then we can reduce the leakages. Now we want to introduce things like smart meters, we want to introduce electronic billing, or we have introduced electronic billing, we have introduced electronic payment, we want to introduce the SCADA and the telemetry system, so that when there's a leakage somewhere, when pressures fall in certain areas, we'll be able to detect in our offices. So there are a lot of things that we have initiated. Okay, but without funds, we can't make them materialize the way we expect. Okay, so then we need the support of all.
You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Araba Kumsin. Still to come, we'll tell you how unpredictable weather patterns are affecting the work of many farmers across the country. You're welcome back. Now, unpredictable weather patterns are affecting the work of many farmers across the country. Largely, this is because they are subsistent, operating on small scale, although in some jurisdictions, it's possible to grow crops throughout by irrigation. To provide a solution to these, peri-urban farmers in Kumasi are receiving training to overcome unpredictable rainfall patterns so they can increase their income. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin visited some of the farms and reports beneficiary farmers are excited about the intervention.
Majority of vegetable farmers depend on rainwater to irrigate their crops. Abdurrauf's first love and source of income is crop cultivation. Like many small-scale farmers, he relies on undependable water source to grow his crops. Waiting for the rainy season could push them out of business because Rauf and his colleagues think of irrigation system as an expensive undertaking.
We are now all bent on getting there. Easy, simple methods of watering our vegetables to make the cost of production and then the tediousness also reducing to the bearers. The time we would have used manually in watering, the watering will be done by the irrigation system.
Lack of efficient irrigation system has been blamed for food insecurity threat in Africa. Metropolitan Directorate of Ministry of Food and Agriculture is, however, taking bold steps to change the fortunes of farmers. Training farmers in irrigation is the option.
We have a strength in vegetables. Most of our farmers grow vegetables, even though we have pockets of cassava, plantain, maize, and other staples. But our strength are the exotic vegetables, cabbage, lettuce, carrots, and stuff. One thing we've realized is that most of these are growing by streams and smaller water bodies, where during the dry season, some of them dry up. So it becomes difficult for them to get water to water their plants during the dry season. So one thing we realize is that mostly the quality of their crop during the dry season is far below what we get during the rainy season. So we saw it's necessary for us to introduce them to these irrigation technologies to help them so that they will be able to get water for their crops all year round. The training we did today was on a new technology from Israel, a very simple technology called the Rivaler.
Type that we have is we wanted every farmer to afford any small area of drip kit so that he can use to produce his crop, so that the farmer can be in business throughout the year. So with our irrigation kits, we came purposely to educate the farmers on how best to save water, how best to use water, and the quality of water and the inputs.
A whole lot. They have taught us how to save costs, because with our machines we were using, you would have to water almost 2 hours, but with their methods you use less water, less time, very economical. With regard to their inputs on crop protection, I have tried one, especially Euphoria. Is very effective.
Even though farmers have been trained on how to fix and operate this system, one more challenge remains.
If only we have the financial backings and we are able to get into it, it's going to help us more.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
We are your friend T, because while we pipe no a phone or sense you no bar pipe no and sako and T no so use glue. Unya Mia Susia.
Now, the Wenchi Municipal Assembly is to begin a massive decongestion exercise to restore orderliness to the central business district of the municipal capital. Wenchi Municipal Chief Executive Dr. Prince Kweku Efriye, who disclosed this, said the assembly will begin process in the first quarter of 2018 to ensure proper parking of vehicles and safety of pedestrians. He was speaking at a Durban to officially end activities of the launch of Wenchi Youth for Development Association.
According to Dr. Prince Kwachi Efriye, Wenchi is fast becoming a city and it's facing challenges that confront every city. Notable among them is the congestion of the central business district with hawkers and unauthorized car parking by drivers. Dr. Prince Kwachi Efriye said Wenchi Municipal Assembly will vigorously decongest the central business district in order to avert problems confronting cities like Accra and Kumasi. The MC also catalogued a number of roads leading to farming communities that will be constructed.
Our dream to become a service town will remain a mirage if the right investment through Central Local Assembly is not made to open up and also upgrade our road networks. It is in this direction that the year 2018 will see major open Wenchi Outer Ring Road, especially Akonkwetiwa, Boadine, Jansoso, Akrobi, and low-cost areas. I'm happy to announce that our major feeder roads are being given the serious attention now. We propose to spend part of our IPEC fund on agricultural roads and farm track. This will not only boost our agri activities, but also reduce post-harvest losses.
Speaking on the theme, development of Wenchi, a shared responsibility of every youth, Chairman of Wenchi Youth for Development Association, Emmanuel Owusu Entry, said the contribution of the youth towards accelerated development is crucial.
We, the youth, can change the future of Wenchi with our well-being and courageous behavior. We are a crucial segment of nation's development. Our contribution, therefore, is highly needed. Wenchi must work again. Wenchi must get the development it seeks, and that starts from now and is today.
Nesta Kafuya Jomas report for Joy News.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. I'm Arba Kumsin. We're taking a break. Now, as the Christmas festivities are being marked by many the world over, there are a minority for whom the entire celebration is an expensive luxury. While the lower to middle income earning groups spend money to make memories of Christmas until the following year, there are those who struggle to get a place to lay their heads in the city's busiest enclaves. Their dream is to wake up, work and save what they make Joy News' Komla Adum has been spending nights on the streets of Accra during the Christmas period and reports the inequalities are so yawning that not even the embrace of Christmas can bridge the gap.
It's a different kind of world, another reality altogether. And in your picture at the moment are boys and girls, men and women, literally kicking in the Christmas festivities in a grand style. Here is Purple Pabinusu.
It's a packed place. I could barely find a footpath. Such is the celebration this side of town. 25-year-old Kwesi Gai in his black snapback tells me he's marking this year's Christmas festivities in some style. He's here with his friends.
I'm enjoying myself because I know in very few days we are going to end 2017, and God willing we're going to see 2018 live and colored. So I'm very happy.
It's been a tough year, but at least we've been through. So at least we're out here to just make fun.
It's nearly 2 a.m. and the numbers keep growing. Christmas is about warmth, love, and family, but there are so many people living on Accra's streets who have none of these. 3 or more different worlds, different realities. The disparities are embarrassingly glaring that not even the ones embraced Christmas festivities can bridge, at least not at this moment. I have come to the Mamobi Nima bus terminal here at Seko to gauge the mood of those who use this place as their only place of abode. For these individuals, today is just another day in their lives. So let me attempt to wake some of them up. The Christmas, no, who didn't say?
Christmas in there, because I would be a mate was here and no condition the woman was a woman every day.
Now, family for more ever.
The more of Darcy.
There's no time I'm upon Amukofi.
Oh, say I say no, family be any say open a caramel beda and I channel power master banner say master start Juma because me has a number BBN has a intimate poem with Dakar name.
You need dangerous.
Oh, that be say high station Yamunkwa. Maybe so baby was that's a mean to me. Yeah, we shout to Uncle Forest or Yaba.
What about mosquitoes, malaria, diarrhea?
Mosquitoes in the more habit, so quick.
The years that pass, some goes well, and we enjoy ourselves much. But this one is like the things have changed. But this year, I'm not celebrating it. But through last year, so I went to my village. But this year, I didn't went to my village.
A few meters away from here lay at least 15 or maybe more rough sleeping men wrapped in pieces of dirty stained cloths, snoring the night away. So it's been over an hour and 30 minutes of struggle trying to lay my head rough here on the streets, because the next moment you're thinking about being knocked down by a straying vehicle or even rolling and falling off a cliff. On a cold night such as this, or even during Christmas, these individuals have to spend the rest of the night every day on these streets right here at Circle.
I say I all had a Christmas and the Nibio, but I still that's all team come and suddenly yesterday the man compensate on my Christmas now to India. It is still that's all come.
Last year by this time Christmas now when he found out saying we didn't.
Christmas the last year I'm going to my side and it didn't come by more second me house by say the Christmas the mini be clear.
Now other hand we am in show say if your car be trimna can e bofa hanum na abebo wana say obi mini ato amnani mu ho no.
Oh we dey yakopa do tie. Bibia ensim wo gidie se bibia entimi si say yan car bi etimi atwafa yan so ha de.
Mesa, also not his real name, has been sleeping rough for the past months. For him, next year's celebrations may bring a better story. I asked him if he knew he was risking his life sleeping out here.
I feel some. I wasn't go be a coffee there, but Minyanya was a mocode. There should be a next year. No, my home was a mock. Yamiadum Christmas there, a quay. Go unam kruma who's a yammer coso come up.
I'm a patrol, me trim who said now, oh, the hat.
Oh, I had a yadia you.
Come, Bobby, our had one.
Oh, Kaida, be more be our baby.
Meaning, say mosquitoes, name malaria, near the idea, baby. Are you not risking your life, mosquitoes and sicknesses like malaria?
Umsa dear by Yaminti, bien Timisi. Tuntum dear very by Yamina Bonipa by.
The Omoda Sa Street with no unimomo, like unim or more individually.
Oh, minimo beer.
The Mobana Mobeda, the Chianama Soranama Baby. Chris, Jojo, Mensa are only a few of the less fortunate ones who have to risk it to make a living in Accra worth their while. Statistics of rough sleepers in Ghana are currently unavailable, but a suspiciously blunt guess could cap the figure at 100,000 or perhaps more. In parts of the United Kingdom, where increasing statistics of homeless people and rough sleepers are hitting the roofs, volunteers and social welfare organizations take it upon themselves to offer food for such persons during festive periods. Here in Ghana, however, that treat for these rough sleepers could be a lifesaver. But whom would they cry out to, and who would hear their plea? There are, however, a few good people who give up their money and time to spend and give some festive cheer to the city's destitute and underprivileged. It's past 4 a.m. here, and as I prepare to leave the streets of Circle, many questions begin to ring in my mind. I was reminded just how Christmas had arrived, celebrations going on in parts of town, but of what essence will it be if, like Jojo, Mensa and the rest of the bus conductors and drivers who sleep in the cold, one cannot revel in the moments. It's been a night during the Christmas festivities here at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange area in Accra, where many individuals, tens of individuals, have been sleeping rough for as long as 1 year. For many of these individuals we have been interacting with, an opportunity to lay their heads somewhere to earn a living at the end of the day is all that matters. And that celebration of Christmas is only but a luxury that would not really matter to them.
Out there. Now, a Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has suspended member for Asakwa East, Oscar Richards, also known as Ghana Bayi, for assaulting a deputy coordinating director. The Public Relations and Complaint Committee says his physical attack on Kalim Abdullah and subsequent disregard for the disciplinary committee led to the decision. A special session approved recommendations for the sanction on Thursday.
53 out of 94 members at the meeting voted to keep Mr. Richards out of the assembly for 1 year. 37 opted for 3 months and 4 decided on 6 months. The embattled member reportedly punched Mr. Kalim Abdul in the face last month. It followed a heated argument with members of the Finance and Administrative Committee, including the convener and former presiding member Nana Kofi Senya. The committee had hauled Mr. Abdul before it could explain a letter from his outfit to the sub-metro unit requesting information from them. An argument ensued when the deputy director told the committee he is not the right person to respond to the committee's queries. Chairman and presiding member of the assembly, Abraham Bwedi, says the decision to suspend Mr. Richards will cost the electoral area nothing.
Now he cannot work as an assembly member. All the immunities and privileges have been withdrawn. So we have instructed those that he share boundary with them, the other assembly members, to assist the unit committee members and also the government committee members from that area, so that they will help the electorates in that particular, in terms of development, everything, as we did it before.
Meanwhile, the Assembly has pardoned Mr. Kalim and Nana Kofi Senya, who had earlier engaged in verbal exchange. Mr. Bodi says the measure will ensure sanity in the Assembly.
Anything that is due to the area, we must do it. That is why we are saying now the administration should recognize the unit committee members, the adjourned assembly members, and the government appointees over that particular electoral area. They should assist. And we are also going to write a disclaimer to the area, the chief of the area, and so that they should know this is what is going on. So if the unit committee members and others are working there, they know the right thing. And we are the lawmakers. We are the assembly. We make the laws. It's better we debate constructively. We can debate to any extent, but not to throw your hands. It's not good. You cannot make your own laws and be the same judge in the same court doing your own thing. I think it's not the best.
Meanwhile, Mr. Riches, who will not speak on record, has indicated his intention to go to court over his suspension.
Now, former footballer George Weah is set to become Liberia's president following Tuesday's runoff election. The National Elections Commission said that with 98.1% of the ballots counted, Mr. Weah had won 61.5% of the vote. Opponent Joseph Boakai was far behind with 38.5%. We've been joined by a Liberian journalist, Clarence Jackson, on the line. Hello again, Clarence.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. What's the mood in Monrovia, where you are, where after the polls were announced, the outcome of the polls were announced?
I can safely say to you that celebrations are continuing. Celebration is every nook and corner of the capital city, Monrovia. Supporters and partisans of the opposition coalition, Democratic Change, cannot stop celebrating. They are all in the streets. They are at corners and intellectual centers, and people are moving all around the city with vehicles as soon as the Elections Commission announced the 98.1% of the final vote cast this evening. I'm telling you, and I've been getting a lot of calls from other places around the country. The partisans and supporters of Mr. George Weah are endlessly celebrating across Liberia. In Monrovia, the celebrations are continuing.
And has his opponent conceded defeat?
No. The Vice President, Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party, has not conceded defeat. Perhaps he's awaiting the announcement of the final results by the National Elections Commission. I'm told that he's going to be having a meeting with his supporters at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in the party headquarters. He has considered defeat yet. Like you 98.1% of vote counts, the results have been announced. Perhaps he's awaiting the National Elections Commission to announce the final result and declare Mr. George Weah President-elect of Liberia. Maybe that's the time he will concede it. But as far as my understanding is concerned, the Vice President hasn't conceded any seat at the moment.
And Clarence, what happens next? I mean, this has been a long fight for Mr. George Weah, to get to this point. What happens now that the Electoral Commission has officially announced that he is the winner of the polls?
Well, once the Elections Commission announced that George Weah is the winner of the polls and president-elect of Liberia, he's going to be awaiting his inauguration. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, incumbent president or outgoing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf issued an executive order establishing a transitional team. The incumbent president will be appointing 15 members to that transitional team. And in this case, President-elect George Weah will also be appointing additional 15 members to the transitional team. In keeping with the Constitution, the new president supposed to be taking the oath office, or the new president supposed to be inaugurated on the 16th of January. So once the Electoral Commission officially declared Ambassador George Weah, winner of the presidential runoff elections, he will now appoint additional 15 members to the transitional committee, and that committee will work to ensure a peaceful transition of power takes place exactly January 16th of next year. We get a little over, just a few days time, less than 3 weeks from now. Ambassador George, we are supposed to be taking over as the 24th president of the Republic of Liberia.
Many thanks. Clarence Jackson is coming up there with a live update from Monrovia. And the news is that the Liberian National Election Commission has officially declared George Weah winner of the runoff poll there. He won by over 60% of the poll. You're watching Joy News Prime. I'm Marable Kumasi. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Now, government has no plans to continue upgrade of Community Health Improvement Services, or CHIPS, compounds to health center status. That's according to Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiah-Asare. He, however, says the facilities across the country will be resourced to enable them to execute their core mandate of promoting health, education, and prevention. Last year, the Ghana Health Service started a program to upgrade and equip CHIPS compounds into model facilities. It was aimed at improving healthcare delivery in underserved areas whilst using the facilities for intensive practical work by health training institutions. Dr. Nsiah-Asare tells my colleague Ohimi Teria the program will be put on hold.
Health Service started a program to upgrade and equip CHIP compounds into model facilities. It was aimed at improving healthcare delivery in underserved areas whilst using the facilities for intensive practical work by healthcare training institutions. There are calls for some CHIP compounds to be upgraded into healthcare facilities. But Dr. Nsiah-Asare says the program will be put on hold.
The position of the Ghana Health Service is that the CHIPS is the lowest level of healthcare. Health center is the next level, district hospital is the next level, regional hospital is the next level, and then the teaching hospitals and our specialist hospitals. So this, we should let it be like that, and then do what we call the referral system. The referral system is that CHIP center knows what he's supposed to treat. In fact, when we do the evaluation, we go around and then do the redesignation and then renaming it. Then we come out of what CHIPS is supposed to treat. CHIP center or CHIPS compound or CHIPS zone doesn't do only clinical care. They do some clinical care, but the most work of a CHIPS zone is prevention and health promotion. They move to the people. CHIPS means that you don't sit at one place and let people come and see you. You move to the people. So you come to this area. They come in front of Dr. Nsiah-Asare's house, and then they've told everybody around here that today the people, the health workers are coming to make a camp here. So everybody come, and they will educate you, and then they will weigh children and all these things.
There are over 1,400 functional CHIPS compounds nationwide which lack basic equipment to work at full capacity. According to Dr. Nsiah-Asare, an evaluation exercise will begin next month in a bid to equip them. It forms part of the universal health coverage under the Millennium Development Goal 4. Supporting development partners include United States Agency for International Development, Korea Foundation for International Healthcare, and the Japan International Cooperation Agency.
Upgrading that maybe we have to do is that we are going to give the necessary equipment for the CHIP center to be a CHIP center, because they will need a BP machine, they will need a weighing machine, they will need a tray for injections and the rest, they will need a carrier box for vaccines and everything. So the community health nurse or community health worker in the CHIPS zone operates, that's where he does paperwork and everything, operates for that center. And CHIPS, the idea of CHIPS is that not the government will come and put up a CHIPS for you. The community can all sit up and say that we are making a small structure here as a CHIP compound.